Moving on to second story. Remember that clip from Hard Knocks? Giants owner John Mara telling GM Joe Shane that he didn't want to lose Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. Well, that's exactly what happened. Saquon returns to New York this time. Little revenge game for Saquon Barkley. He said, I don't expect a great reaction. I don't expect to get booed. I look at it like this. The Eagles and the Giants have probably played over 200 games. This rivalry was there before me, and it's going to be there after me.
I like him so much.
He's such a grown-up.
He's such a great player.
Make sense of this line
Every
for me,
time he
please.
talks, he says something smart. He really has handled this whole thing like a pro.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, Saquon is a pro.
I don't get why the Eagles are only 3-point favorites in this game. I'm just
I could 2 words. Nick Sirianni. The Giants have the better coach.
I got 2 words for you. Saquon Barkley. This is good. You know the whole Eagles team is going to be like, hey, you got to get revenge on these guys. They didn't want you. I anticipate like 175 yards of offense.
Yeah, Giants have major concerns.
Okay, let's talk about this. This is going to be interesting because I've already done a few games throughout this season where they're like revenge games type things or where teams or players or coaches are returning to previous destinations. The Commanders with Cliff Kingsbury to the Cardinals, and it was this big rallying cry behind Cliff Kingsbury, and Cliff Kingsbury, he's the OC for the Commanders, and he was the old head coach for the Cardinals. He ended up getting the game ball, and that he wanted to put on a show for them, and we've had a few games like that throughout this season, which has been pretty cool and been fun to watch. And pretty much every single time we see those players, coaches, whoever involved really get to put on a show, put on a clinic. We saw the Detroit Lions, and it's not exactly this, but they wanted revenge for what happened the last time that they played the Cowboys, and they got it. And Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, they wanted it. That's why they were doing every single trick play they had in the book, because they wanted to prove you can't stop us. The refs robbed us from beating you with the trick play last season. We're going to prove you wrong this time. And this is where we find out who the Eagles are. How connected are they as a family, as a culture, right? Does everyone rally behind? Are they able to use this revenge game with Saquon, right? As a way to dominate this game. And it doesn't have to be like the way how the Lions did or even the Commanders versus the Cardinals, but just like them balling out, them looking great, Saquon being featured, Saquon having 150 plus yards from scrimmage, right? Running, catching, 3 touchdowns, like whatever it may be. And it doesn't have to be 100% the Saquon game, right? Like you don't want to get too distracted by that, right? Like that could be problematic. It still, of course, needs to be balanced because getting a win is more important than anything. But it's just the rallying behind, the unification. This is when you find out how connected you are as a team, right? How important it is, how everyone rises the occasion. Because Saquon is their guy now. This game is set up for Saquon to ball out, for him to ball out, for the Eagles to ball out, for him to get the game ball in the locker room and him smiling and everyone clapping and dancing and singing like we've seen a whole bunch of times this season for all different teams. Like this is that time to see it, that moment. And this is what you're waiting for if you're an Eagles fan. Like this should and could be the catalyst to get the Eagles feeling like, all right, we're doing this. We got this. Let's go. And the Giants obviously aren't a good team. And I know J-Max said, why isn't this not bigger? And it's because the spread was bigger versus the Browns, and they didn't cover technically, right? They just didn't. I mean, they could have if it wasn't for some unfortunate events. But again, like I said in a previous video, the Eagles lose that benefit of the doubt because of the issues that they've kind of had. But they're expected to be healthy, or healthier than they have in the past. And this should be a game that Saquon should just be so excited, and he should not get booed. I'm sure some people will boo him just because fans will fans, but he's been an absolute pro, an absolute grown up, just mature. He laid his career, his body on the line for the Giants. The Giants were a terrible team, no offensive line, bad quarterback, no weapons. Saquon was left out on an island. He was a massive reason why they even got to the playoffs that one year and won a game because of Saquon. Make no mistake about it. And, you know, they weren't going to give him the money. And even when they weren't going to give him the money the last year, he still played for them. He didn't say, like, I'm only playing if I get a $60 million contract. He didn't do what Ezekiel Elliott did. I mean, the guy went to, I think, like Cabo or, you know, somewhere in Mexico. I was like, I'm not leaving until you pay me my money. And I'm not doing no franchise deal or anything like that. Give me my money. He didn't do that. He's just been a pro. He's been a grown-up. So I think he's going to want to be like, that's right, you missed me, Giants. More to management and the GM, probably more so than the owner, because I imagine he probably has a decent relationship with the owner to a degree. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this game unfolds. This game has some drama. I feel like the Giants and the Eagles, the Cowboys and the Giants and the Commanders, like a lot of those games, I feel like really over the last 2, 3, 4 years or so, there's really only been interesting drama between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Just because it seems like those two teams have the most at stake with the most exciting quarterbacks over these last few years. And now this game adds some excitement to it, right? With Saquon Barkley, the Giants, like this should be a game that the Eagles should be able to just really get right. This should be a get right game. The Browns game was supposed to be that way. It didn't necessarily unfold that. It wasn't a wrong game or a bad game. It was like a step in the right direction. This should be a game where they can just really skip a few steps, where they should really like get higher and higher and higher. That's what I'm looking for in this game. And having Saquon return to New York it's the perfect way to rally and unify this team. It's this common goal. They want to win. They want to elevate their brother in arms. And you see teams do it all around the league through every single season. This is what a lot of these players live for. I have limited experience in this situation. Obviously, I wasn't in the NFL, but playing for a team that I played for in the past. And you want that game so badly. You want it. You want to do it for the other guys, for the other fans that you used to play in front of, the parents of the people, whatever it may be. Like you just want it so badly, and everyone knows, and every single player has experienced that one way or the other, whether it was when they were in grade school, middle school, high school, college, pros. I'm sure some of these guys, I'd have to look at the roster to see, where people moved around. Like everybody knows it and feels it, and that's why they know they want to do it. And that's why it becomes this ultimate rallying cry for these teams and players. So that's really what I'm going to be on the lookout for more than anything. And I would find it concerning if they don't do that. That would be an indicator of me saying they have a culture problem. This is not a team right now. This is not a family, right? That would actually be a red flag for me. I'm not anticipating that. But if I don't see that, to be clear, it's not to say that Saquon has to have a big game, but I just want to see that momentum and that that getting behind Saquon. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles and Saquon's return to the New York Giants? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.